Good morning, Poet fans. Welcome to another edition of Coleman's Corner. I'm Lance Franey, Associate Athletic Director for Communications, joined by Executive Director of Athletics, Rob Coleman. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Lance.
So today we're actually going to be combining two different shows. We're actually going to be doing a Poet Sports Report and combining Coleman's Corner as well today. So we have a lot to discuss. But first things first, Rob, let's have a quick update regarding our fall sports that just finished a month ago.
Yeah, Lance, we had a great fall, as you know. Finished up in the Commissioner's Cup 5th in Skyac, which really strong. And point-wise, probably our strongest point total in the last few years. And so really excited about, obviously women's soccer winning the Skyac tournament. Very, very exciting for them to go on and move on to the NCAA tournament, as well as women's volleyball. Capturing a seed as well in the West Coast, and so both those teams have outstanding seasons. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention about men's and women's cross country. Jalissa and Julian going off to nationals once again. Jalissa, I think, finishing somewhere in the top 50 or 60 in the country. She had a great conclusion to her career, outstanding career here. And so, like you mentioned, I mean, we had a really, really good fall, and looking forward to a wonderful winter and spring here as we move forward. But we did exactly what we planned to do. Have some strong finishes in some sports. I mean, men's water polo finished second in the tournament, and they had a great season with a young team, and their future seems very, very bright. And so, once again, those 5 teams out of our 7 did very, very well.
I know you spoke about it last year, making a big impact in the all sports standings in this fall season, and that's kind of where we were lacking, getting that quick start. But this year, we're off to a fantastic start, one of the best starts we've had. And now we just got to see if the winter sports can continue doing it, and I feel they have done it, especially on the swimming and diving side, which we'll definitely touch upon. But first with the basketball, men's basketball had one game this week. They beat Laverne they ended up beating Laverne in a big way, 92-66, to open up Skyac play. The women's basketball team suffered 2 tough losses this week to Laverne and Redlands, and they were close losses. But how do you feel the teams have been going so far on both the men's and women's side? 2 tough schedules they've been putting together.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done fine so far. I mean, like anything, you'd like to get some sort of a streak going. Men's basketball playing on the road early on. We had a couple tough losses, close losses. A play here, a play there is the difference to perhaps 1 or 2 more wins right now. But great start to Skyac, getting that W. I think they're starting to play well together. You have a couple of new players added into the group who did not go to Australia, and so that's taken a little bit of time to get them acclimated. We're going to Daytona this weekend and playing another strong team, at least one very strong team in Brockport. And then we come home, and so hopefully we can get this going a little bit. We got to get away from win one, lose one, but I think we're going to be fine. Mark's done a really, really nice job with his staff, working hard, getting better every day, and, it all seemed to come together a little bit here at Laverne the other night with a very, very good win. And then, on the ladies' side, they're very, very young, as we all know. There's a process to this, and they're working through that. They look at moments like, they're going to be awesome, and then they have their freshman moments. And, Mia got 35 one night, and then a couple of nights later, she gets a few points. And so, it's that up and down, but I think the talent is certainly there. I think this is all going to work itself out here as we get into January when, they've been on the floor, they're getting valuable time right now on the court, and I think this is going to be fine in the long run, Lance. I see both the men and the women competing for one of those top 4 spots as we get into the early part of February, and that's all you can really ask for.
And you've seen, especially on the men's basketball side, they're putting up 90 points a game. They're averaging about 85, 86 right now. And 2 of their last 3 opponents, they've held them under 70 points. I mean, I know we've chatted about this. Is there something new that head coach Mark Jensen's bringing to the table here in his inaugural season?
Well, I mean, I think any team, Lance, is trying to figure out what their identity is. What is that identity? And, I think that Mark understands that defense wins championships when we really get down to it. And if you keep teams in the 60s, maybe even the low 70s, you've got a really good chance to win a lot of ball games. When folks start scoring mid 70s and into the 80s, then, really, quite honestly, it's anyone's game. And, we're a good shooting team, but in the playoffs, as we know, that can come and go. You just don't know, but you have to be able to rely on your defense every single night. And that goes back to the ladies as well. You've got to be able to have an identity that you're a defensive type of basketball program. And so I think they're working hard on that front for sure. Pressing a little bit more each night. We're doing a little bit more of that. Trying to use our bench because we feel we're kind of deep. And, eventually, like I said, that's all going to come to fruition. We have to get through December, get into January here, and I think we hopefully can get something going.
Now, do you like the schedule how it is, where you're playing some conference games here before we even get into January?
I don't know if I love it. It's the way it has to be. The way now having 9 teams and
because you saw Claremont Pomona, they played on Saturday night, and that's one of the big rivalry games on their schedule, and they're already playing each other already.
I don't think that we love it, but we only play in 2. And I think the ladies this year, some of them played 3, and so it's not ultimate. It's not exactly what you want, but it is what it is at this point. There's no other way to do it unless we're going to play 3 games in 1 week in January, February, and I don't think coaches want that either.
Of course. Okay, well, that's good to talk about the basketball program. Now moving over into the swimming and diving side. Both the men and women coming off big wins over Biola University in a non-conference bout here this past Saturday. The men's swimming and diving team won 125-84. The women won 129-100. The women also have wins over Laverne and Chapman on the season. The men have a win against Laverne. But all I can say is records are falling all over the place on both sides. We have a lot of young talent on this team. Do you feel this team can make a good run late in the season in the Sky Championships?
Yeah, well, first off, I want to say that I think Tim, as our new coach, has done a really, really nice job. I hear them every single morning out my window. They seem like a very close group, and they're challenging one another. I think Tim is challenging, our student athletes in the pool, and I think that's one of the reasons. There's certainly tremendous talent in the water, but I think Tim's trying to maximize that, which is why some of these records are being broken and they're falling. And so, I think there's great potential here, and I know Tim's been talking about. We want to try to finish in the top 4 teams in the conference, and it's going to be close. I think Lance, as much as anyone, that 4 through 7 spot can go either way. Last year we happened to fall on the bottom end of that. A couple of years ago, we finished on the top half of that. We finished 4th. So, that's really our goal. Our roster for swimming right now is not as large as it could be or should be. That's a plan with Tim that we're going to continue to build that out. But the talent that we have, yes. And I do think that having 18 in the championship is going to obviously help us quite a bit. And it's not just, open to 25, 30 different swimmers.
Yeah.
So that will help us.
If you look at some of the individual athletes that we have, Zahir Pagot, he's from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Division I transfer, where he swam there. On the women's side, you have some freshmen, Brooke Geske, Alexa Malara. These guys are going off right now in the pool. Talking about Zoo, broke the SCIAC and the school record in the 100 fly this year, broke the 100 free school record. He's also currently ranked number 1 in the country in the 100 fly, and he sits number 1 in the conference in the 100 fly, 50 free, and the 100 free. Let's just talk about him for a second. He's like a big component of this program. Great kid. I've chatted with him a bunch of times, but he's only a junior. He's going to be here a couple of years, and this could build a little dynasty here this year, maybe, and then moving into next year, we bring some more numbers in.
Well, again, that's the plan. Zoo is obviously having a tremendous fall season here. The talent is what it is. He's come from North Carolina, where now he's the big fish in the small pond here, and he has great opportunity in front of him. He continues to work hard in the classroom and do what he needs to do there, and he can be possibly in nationals and more than one event, quite honestly.
Exactly.
And again, this is having the talent in the pool and everyone kind of pushing to be the best that they can be. That's what it's going to do. And in the meantime, it allows Tim to hopefully bring in more, quality swimmers, what we have currently, and so we can challenge one another to be the best. And so that's what Zoo allows us to do.
And then on the women's side, they have a lot of young talent, not transfers, but a lot of young freshmen. And you're looking at Geske, who broke the 200 back school record, the 100 back school record. Alexa Millara broke the 200 breast school record, was also an NCAA B cut, and she's currently ranked 13th in the country right now in that event. And then you have the 200 medley relay team of a lot of young talent, Maldine, Millara, Geske, and then you have Cho in there as well. They broke the 200 medley relay school record as well this year. So a big team on the women's side, a lot of young talent, and it's bright right now.
Well, the future is really bright, especially there, because if once again, if we can bring in an influx of 5 or more freshmen for next year with the sophomores who will be coming back. Yeah, and if we can find another diver to help on that front, the points right there. I mean, we can move into the easily top 4 and start to do the next challenge, which is how do we get into the top 3. And so, yeah, the future is very, very bright there. There's no question. And when you see freshmen breaking records, I mean, you start to smile a little bit that we might have something going on, and we do right now. And again, the vibe and the spirit of that team is super, super high. They seem to get along really, really well as a group. I think the culture's pretty good there. And I think, they like their new coach. And I know Tim really loves the student athletes in his program right now. So I think the future is bright. And the future can be right now, Lance. We can send 3, 4, 5, 6 different people to nationals. That's what we want to do.
Great. So a good start to the fall season with women's soccer, volleyball, water polo, cross country. Great starts there. But then winter sports, they're off to a good start moving forward. But now let's talk about some of the facility updates. Any changes going on within athletics? Anything new happening right now?
Yeah, well, again, we finished up everything we needed to do up in the stadium over the summertime. New turf, new track, everything's come out really, really well. We're putting the final touches on what we're doing at the baseball field right now, which is the permanent bleachers, the new press box, new entrance down the first baseline there and right field. And we're also doing some batting cages as well. We're trying to pour that concrete here this week. And so, yeah, really exciting there. We'll cut the ribbon in late January for that. So we're super, super excited about that. That's the next really big thing here we got to finish up.
I'm really happy to have a press box out there to be able to sit in for games. I love it. I'm really excited about the changes. And I know there's a lot of rebranding going on around here, or a lot of branding out there. And I think that's the name of the game now that we chatted about. It's all about logos, getting the logos out there, the branding. What other changes are there?
Well, I mean, the new board out front. It seems like a very simplistic type thing, but we're able to... I see student athletes walking by there and seeing their name up there, seeing their friend's name up there, because we're constantly updating that board with, great accomplishments in the classroom or on the playing field. And so, that's just a small addition as a welcome. But yeah, our logo, we got some other things, as that we're trying to put together here and as you enter our building. And so we're excited about the little things we keep doing. And, we need to work on our tennis courts coming up. It's another big project that's in our sights here, and some things we'd like to get completed in the gymnasium. And so each year, Lance, as you know, we try to do something here, just to stay up with the Joneses and compete, because facilities sell for recruits, and that's really important for us.
Great. Any new coaching hires, updates with anything within the athletic department, staffing?
Yeah, we've had a few. Dee Dee Kingsbury resigned about a month ago as our senior women administrator and our head softball coach, and very fortunate that we were able to hire Tricia Senyo, coming over from Chaffee, but Tricia was an assistant here in the program back in, I think, 2009. But she's been up at Sonoma State for quite a while, and great success up there when she was up there. And so really happy that Tricia's been was available and interested in joining our program. And then Monica Gerardo, having 7 strong seasons as our women's soccer coach. she's resigned as well and taken assistant principal position here at a K through 8 school here locally. But we're in that search as well. We're going to be starting that tomorrow. And hopefully by mid-January at some point, we'll have named our new head coach there. So two big changes to big leaders in our program, and big shoes to walk in. But I think Tricia is going to do a really, really good job. And once we get this other hire squared away with women's soccer, I think we'll be back in good shape.
So some great updates here. I'm looking forward to the spring after the winter time. I think we're going to do some damage there in the spring sports as well, which we'll touch upon moving forward here with some of the next Coleman's Corners. But I want to thank you all for tuning in here today for our Coleman's Corner and our Poets Sports Report. Every week we're going to come back to you with a Poet Sports Report, recaps, highlights, analysis on the games during the week so you can stay up to date with Poet Athletics. For Lance Franey, Rob Coleman, once again, thank you for tuning in.